What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about another standout game that I thought was revealed at the Nintendo Direct. Ironically, look, the Fire Emblems of the world and the Yoshis of the world, like a lot of this stuff I'm very excited for. I can only make so many videos a day, but honestly, the ones that shocked me the most were the Danganronpa 2 again kind of things, 2x2, Fatal Frame, which we're here to talk about in this video. Who saw this one come? Just the same thing I said for Danganronpa 2x2. Who in God's name would have predicted that which, by the way, Fatal Frame 2 is often regarded as one of the scariest horror games, right, of all time. And you're putting it alongside Donkey Kong DLC and Fire Emblem and things like that. Mario Tennis, you see Mario Tennis, and the next game is Fatal Frame 2. It doesn't really jive all that well, and that's totally cool, by the way. This is such, I think, a great idea personally. Now here's the deal. My own personal experience with this franchise is I don't remember much. I know this is what's tough when you learn as much as I have learned, I think, about games the last 10 years being online. You kind of start to blend things together. I do feel like I played this game at some point in my life. I've never owned it. My wife has also never owned it, but she did play it, and she was the closest to owning it of the two of us. And I've, of course, learned so much about it as time has gone on. Obviously, what's interesting about this is, if you recall, this was already a remake. You already had a remake of Fatal Frame 2, I believe, in 2008, and it was just on the Wii. But one thing I want to say, from being a gaming preservationist as I am, thank the Lord that even something like this is happening. Look, when a remake or a remaster happens, generally I'm for it, if nothing else than to keep the game alive. And I think that's one huge part even here is what you think about the original, and you can think about the Wii version as well, but think about that original PS2 Fatal Frame 2. Now today has jolted me into action. I've tried to look and said, okay, how much does this sucker? If you want to get Fatal Frame 2, this is like a Silent Hill situation. Silent Hill games, Silent Hill 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4. These games are $200 to $300, third-party kind of sellers. Fatal Frame is similar, a little bit cheaper, but Fatal Frame 2 goes for $130 online if you want to get it for PS2. Fatal Frame 3, I think, is somewhere in the $150 to $200 range. So these are expensive games. And honestly, the reason I'm spending so much time talking about this, part of me wants to just forget the game in and of itself, just for a second, of course, but to say, thank God, because this gives you an opportunity to play it, and you don't have to go out of your way to either emulate it or to get the game for $150. To think that somebody would have to, if you say, hey, go play Fatal Frame 2, there's ways of doing it, but it's not the most casual, pop it in or go to the PlayStation or Xbox store and just download the freaking thing and click play, right? You have to jump through hoops, and you have to jump through $200 hoops sometimes to play some of these games. So just from that point alone, and the Wii version, actually seemingly, I never actually played the Wii version, that seemed like a downgrade. The review scores are lower, people's opinion of it seemed to have been lower, so hopefully this is more in line with the original versus the Wii version, but just good on its own to keep the game around, or keep the franchise around, I guess, also as a bonus, but also it's okay, this can be your entry point for people like me that maybe played it, maybe didn't, I half remember, right? People that played it a long time ago and just, have forgotten about it over the last 20 years, or diehards, or people that have never played the game before. This is your entry point. And the game, by the way, looks phenomenal, looks so freaking good. I mean, that's almost there's not too much to say, because if you know Fatal Frame 2, you'll know this game. It's looking really, really good. It's coming next year. I think this one is early next year versus Danganronpa is just sometime in 2026. So we could be getting this thing in March or April or something of next year. Really, really close to now. And again, really came out of absolutely nowhere. But I really think, judging by the response that I have seen from the horror community on social media, seems like they're super happy. And it really was I was watching it. I was watching Twitter and kind of going back and forth. And as soon as this one dropped, I was oh my dear freaking God, it really got me. Even from somebody who's not a diehard fan, this is one of the biggest games I feel that was shown off at the show, at least in my alley. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.